Welcome, football fans, ladies, gentlemen, and every last one of you jabronis. It's Mitch here with the most electrifying NFL power rankings on the internet. Some even say the most accurate NFL power rankings anywhere on the internet. But what everyone says, and you know it, I know you know it, jabroni, the most honest power rankings. Because I don't sit here and make up reasons why your team is good. I don't sugarcoat your team's situation for now or for the future. I don't tell you why everything's gonna be okay, because it's not gonna be okay. At least for some of you. Mitch, why do you hate my team? That's what they always ask me. And I just simply say this: I don't hate your team, jabroni. They just suck. If you're ready for me to rank every NFL team entering week 15, you know what to do. Gronk, spike the like button. It's free. And don't be a jabroni. Subscribe. I'm looking at you. I know you have not subscribed. I see you. You watch my videos, it pops up on your homepage. You think you're slick? You think you can get away without subscribing? I'm gonna find you. Subscribe, jabroni. Let's get started with the worst team in the NFL. At number 32, they're back. I'm even wearing their colors because the Las Vegas Raiders are back in last place where they belong. Not only are they absolute garbage, but apparently they're also crooked. These Las Vegas Raiders. Did anyone watch the end of that Raiders-Broncos game? I know that many of you didn't, because who in the blue is watching the Raiders? Hopefully not you. Hopefully not. I mean, please don't. Like, really, truly don't. It's going to hurt your health, and I want you to live a long time. So don't watch the Raiders. But I'm here sacrificing my health, watching the Raiders for all of you jabronis. And the Las Vegas Raiders kicked a field goal with 3 seconds left in the game, down by 10. Now, why would you ever do that? You know why? Because from my understanding, the spread was rather 7.5 or 8.5. And while I, Money Mitch, did not bet on the Raiders, and I certainly did not bet on Bo Nix, no. I watched this as somebody that is aware of the betting markets, and I saw the scumminess of the Raiders. Pete Carroll chewing his gum, all nervously. The ref calling a absolute nonsense delay of game penalty when it was over. Over. Why are they calling that penalty? The game is over. And then the Raiders do the absolute biggest jabroni thing I have ever seen. They get the field goal unit to walk on the field and kick a game useless field goal to go down 7 because that makes them smile. That makes them feel better about their absolute dog shit team. Other than the fact that they were paid by the mob to cover the spread and everyone was in on it, the refs, Pete Carroll, Tyler Lockett is a fishy football player. First of all, that guy never goes for yards after catch. Ask yourself a question. Have you ever seen Tyler Lockett ever try to break a tackle in your life? Ever? I just hate Tyler Lockett, period. Because he is an absolute pussy. He thinks he's a football player and he runs out of bounds or he slides. I hate watching him. I'm done. And then you've got the Broncos playing along with it. The ref calling a stupid penalty. That was rigged. I don't often say things are rigged, but that was ridiculous. Why? Why? Let the clock go. Why are you even trying at this point? You want to get your players injured? So the Raiders are officially number 32 for the rest of the year. I don't care if they win every last game on their schedule. I don't care if they beat the Eagles this week. The Raiders are a bunch of crooked cheaters. They're a bunch of criminals, and they deserve to be number 32. At number 31, the Tennessee Titans. Yes, the Titans beat the Browns, but the Titans only beat the Browns because the Browns beat themselves. And if you were to ask me who has a better chance to actually beat a team that is not the Titans or the Browns, I would pick the Browns to beat a normal team. Like the Browns beat the Packers this year. You know what I'm saying? The Browns have competed more often. They beat the Dolphins. They smacked the Dolphins. Tennessee has 2 wins. One of them, the Cardinals fumbled the ball into their end zone and fumbled the ball into Tennessee's end zone. They should have lost that game. And then this last game was also highly suspect from Kevin Stefanski. Why in the blue are you running a wildcat pass on a 2-point conversion to tie the game? Guys, I'll give you a little secret. You know why they did that? Because they wanted to lose the damn game. It's not any sort of science. There's no math to this equation. It's pretty damn simple. Stefanski put a play out there. He called a play that he knew would suck, that he knew would fail, and that he knew would not help them win the game. They lost on purpose, bro. They lost on purpose. The Titans beat a team that lost on purpose. Period. And they also got outgained. They got shredded by Shador and his screen passes. That's how bad this team is, bro. At number 30, Shador and the Cleveland Browns. How do you lose to the Tennessee Titans? I don't even care if you were trying to lose. How do you lose? You know why? Because Cleveland, I do not know how Kevin Stefanski still has a job. This team loses every single week because they make mistakes. Interceptions, fumbles, block punts, block field goals, every single damn week. The best coach on this staff is Jim Schwartz. Period. Kevin Stefanski's last achievement was hiring Jim Schwartz, who carried his ass to the playoffs, along with, for some reason, signing Joe Flacco off of his couch to carry him to the playoffs. Kevin Stefanski is a jabroni. He's soft. He's a pussy. I do not support him. He belongs with Tyler Lockett on the street. Get rid of him. Now, Shador Sanders. Everybody's freaking out. Oh, look at that. What a game. He had like 270 yards after the catch out of 300. What a game. What a game. I'll give him credit for the little loft pass, the little touch pass to David Njoku. I'll give him credit for that nice throw to Jerry Jeudy. He made some things happen. And at least he wasn't an arrogant prick after the game. I don't know how he would be because he lost. But the bottom line is, how do you lose to the Titans with one of the best defenses in the league? Like, all these Shador stands coming in my chat. Oh, bro, he's getting more girls than you, Mitch. Shut your jabroni ass up. Who are you, bro? Like, why are you in my chat? I have never seen a man with a grown man's genitals so far down their throat in my life. Get the fuck out of my chat, bro. What are you doing? Get a life. Go for a walk. Hit the gym. Why are you obsessed with this bum quarterback that isn't even good? Like, and he's not even, he doesn't care about you. He's not, like, what? I don't understand people. I don't understand people. I don't get it, bro. Myles Garrett got another sack. Congratulations to him. What a bunch of jabronis. I can't, bro. Next. Number 29. The New York Jets. What in the F did I watch on Sunday? What was that? Who in the blue is Brady Cook? That's my question for everybody. Who in the blue is Brady Cook? If that even is his name. I feel like that's a creative player, bro. That's a creative player. And now we've got the people creating Mitch on Madden. They're trying to create Drake May, but they came out with something more handsome. And that was Money Mitch. Congratulations to you, Aiden. Okay. Back to the real story, which is the Jets. The New York Jets absolutely suck. And this is a team that has all the hope in the world. All the hope in the world. But again, guys, I don't sugarcoat. Jets fans, you might have a first-round pick, another first-round pick, another first-round pick, another first-round pick, another first-round pick. But at the end of the day, you've got Aaron Glenn. At the end of the day, your team is spelled Jets. And as all you fans know, it's Jets, Jets, Jets. And at the end of the day, you're the Jets. You're going to F it up. You're going to mess it up. You're not going to be any good. There's no hope. You've got to play Drake May for 10 more years. You're done. You're finished. You're washed. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen for you, Jets fans. I'm sorry. You're done. Have fun with Brady Cook. At number 28, the New York Giants. I'm starting to think the Giants are the Jets. There's all this hope for Jackson Dart. I have never seen more hype in my life for one of the most mid quarterbacks I have ever seen. You just give a white boy a little aura. You give a white boy a little Star Wars fetish. And all of a sudden, New York loses their minds. The Giants aren't going anywhere. They stink. We'll see who they get at head coach. Mike Tomlin. Who's it going to be? Bill Belichick? Come on, man. Now, the Giants are fortunate that their leading team in the division, Jalen Hurts, he's absolute dog crap. More on that in a little bit. The Cowboys are sort of in a retooling phase, and the Commanders have one of the most overrated quarterbacks I've ever seen walking on an NFL field. So the Giants might have a little glimpse of hope. They don't have to face Drake May. But I just don't understand this Jackson Dart stuff. And I certainly don't understand the Cam Scadaboo stuff. Bro, my chair is bipolar, man. The Giants are at number 28. Nothing else to say. Number 27, the New Orleans Saints. Now, you know a rookie quarterback that should be getting some hype. His name is Shuck. Tyler Shuck. Did you guys see his 2 runs? One was a scramble, one was a design run. He's out there with backup linemen and backup receivers and backup running backs. And he's going on the road to Tampa Bay to take down Baker and the Bucks. The Saints might have their quarterback. Now, I don't know about Kellen Moore. They certainly need to improve basically their entire defense. And they need a lot of help in their roster. But look at what the Giants fans are doing with this Jackson Dart kid, because he wears, like, chains. If you put a chain on Tyler Shuck, how many aura points does he get, bro? Jermari, help a brother out. Hook Tyler Shuck up. Number 27, Saints. Number 26, the Falcons. Kirk O'Chains himself has been struggling. Drake London's out, therefore the passing game of the Falcons is completely and utterly useless. They play on Thursday Night Football. And this is the state of the Falcons. The Falcons are so bad, and they are in such dire straits, and they are so down bad, that not a single Falcon fan I know actually will watch them play. Ultra has admitted that he will no longer watch the Falcons or talk about the Falcons until Raheem Morris is fired. My girl Claire comes into the chat every single time. Claire is a legend of the game. Claire will not even utter the words Atlanta Falcons. She doesn't even bring them up. The Falcons are done. They gave their first round pick to the damn Rams. Why did you have to do that shit? Number 25. The Indianapolis Colts. Back at the bottom where you belong, party. You're back at the bottom. Who would have thought? Not me. Daniel Jones tore his Achilles. I feel bad for Daniel Jones, bro. But the real story is that the Indianapolis Colts will have a grandpa playing quarterback. That is not a joke. That is not a joke. I repeat, that is not a joke. Phillip Rivers is a grandpa, a grandfather. He will be starting for the Indianapolis Colts at the prime, young, youthful, vibrant, boyish age of 44. Phillip Rivers with a noodle arm is looking to be the last hope for Party and the Colts fans. Good luck. Good luck. The Colts defense is ass. Buckner carries their whole defense. Sauce Gardner's already one of the worst trades I've ever seen. Jonathan Taylor's washed. And now they've got a grandfather at quarterback. Number 24, the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know what to say about this team. I'm speechless. Kyler Murray is gone. He's enjoying life playing Call of Duty with the boys. Jacoby Brissett, I didn't think I would have to watch him as much as I have this year after what happened in New England. I don't know how Jonathan Gannon and this staff survives. I actually think they have a couple of good coaches, specifically the coordinators. But this team's been injured all year, and they just have nothing redeeming about them. Other than Trey McBride, do they have a player that they can build around? I don't know. Maybe Michael Wilson. He looks like Jerry Rice. But the one thing I know is the Cardinals will somehow throw for 350 yards against everyone, maybe even the Texans, and lose by 40. So, that's the Cardinals. The Commanders. From NFC Championship to losing to J.J. McCarthy 31-0. I will repeat. From NFC Championship appearance to losing to 9. 31-0. And I said this on the review. No one will admit it. Certainly not Commander fans. Jaden Daniels has sucked all year. And yet, people are still saying that he's the franchise quarterback. He's elite. He's their guy. I don't know. I kind of think Marcus Mariota's been better all year. The EPA would back it up. The PFF grades would back it up. These two blue eyes would back it up. Not only do the Commanders have a super overrated quarterback who can't stay healthy and is thinner than Kevin Durant, but they have the oldest, slowest, worst defensive personnel I have ever seen. And it's all predictable. It was predictable from the start, from the jump. All the Commanders fans said, "You're wrong, Mitch. We're going to be even better this year." Wrong. You fluked last year. It was a fluke. 4th down flukes. 1-score flukes. Easiest schedule in the league. Fluke. Cliff Kingsbury carry. Fluke. Commanders stink. Next, the Vikings. 9. Maybe had his best game in the NFL last week. But you can credit the Commanders' defense for that. I don't know what to make of the Vikings. I think their future is bleak. I think Kevin O'Connell has struggled all year. I think their front office right now is extremely overrated and has made numerous terrible decisions. Numerous. Will Fries, Ryan Kelly, Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, even Dallas Turner, J.J. McCarthy. Have they made a single good pickup in 2 years? Blake Cashman, I guess, Andrew Van Ginkel. Those feel like Brian Flores' influence, do they not? I feel bad for Justin Jefferson. The guy can't get 3 passes thrown his direction. You know you suck when you can't get Justin Jefferson the ball. Nothing else to say. Number 21, the Ravens. I see power rankings that still have the Ravens in the top 15, and it makes me laugh from my belly. Lamar Jackson. Nobody wants to say it. Lamar Jackson is absolutely positively washed. Washed! He's slow. He's fat. He can't elude anybody anymore. He's not as confident. He lost half his aura. Derrick Henry, sit on the bench. Give Keaton Mitchell the ball. Why is this team signing Mark Andrews? Like, what in the blue are you doing? Or do you watch Mark Andrews play? Like, am I, like, what? Sing, what are they doing? The Ravens' pass rush is terrible. The only thing I really like about this team is their secondary. And they just get daddied by Jamar Chase every time. It's going to happen again. The Ravens are so overrated. They are cooked. At number 20, the Steelers. My goodness. You know you're cooked. You know you're overrated when you lose to the Steelers. And you're down by multiple scores to the Steelers. And you could blame the refs all you want, but the refs aren't responsible for Lamar Jackson being washed. Aaron Rodgers discount double-checked on your freaking face, bro. In your house. You think Ray Lewis would stand for that? You think T. Sizzle would stand for that? You think that Ed Reed would stand for that? No. Aaron Rodgers would have been dead on the spot. Rashee Rice. Done. DK Metcalf owned you. The Steelers didn't even run the ball, and they still won the game. Now, I don't think the Steelers are good at all. At all. I think they suck. I think they stink. I think that was Aaron Rodgers, maybe his best game as a Steeler. He was throwing the ball downfield. He was making good decisions. He was moving well. He ran for a touchdown. But you can't rely on 40-plus-year-old Aaron Rodgers to do that every week. The Steelers uniquely know how to match up with the Ravens, how to beat the Ravens, how to target Lamar, how to game plan for Lamar. I just don't want to see the Steelers in the playoffs because I know for a fact they're going to get their absolute ass kicked in the first round. It's going to happen. So at number 20, I have the Steelers. 19, the Miami Dolphins. You guys notice? By the way, I hit that note like freaking Michael Jackson. Miami Dolphins. You guys hear that? Claire, hook me up with your music school. The Miami Dolphins are on a tear. And you guys notice that ever since I, with my beautiful voice, sang the Miami Dolphins theme song, that the Miami Dolphins have gone on a tear. Does anyone notice that? Some call it a coincidence, but I don't. Their defense is playing outstanding. Their run game is awesome. Mike McDaniel, the turnaround from this team. And notice how quiet they are right now. Nobody's talking about them. They're not in the headlines. They're going about their business. And Mitch, for the first time maybe ever, will proudly bet on the Dolphins against the overrated Steelers. I might just do that. I might join their camp. Number 18, the Cincinnati Bengals. Wow, that was disappointing on Sunday. The Bengals were dotting up the Bills, slicing, dicing, shredding, manipulating the Bills' defense. Burrow was dropping bullets and bombs on the McDermott defense, and it looked easy. And it really looked easy all the way till the end. The Bills only got a couple fluky stops and a pick six and another interception that was tipped that turned the game. And that's the only reason the Bills won. The Bengals should have beat the Bills. And as we said many times, the Bengals are a tough matchup for the Bills. But I'm disappointed because if the Bengals won that game, I think they would have made the playoffs. Now I'm not so sure. Now they still have a chance. It's going to be difficult. They still have a chance. They have to win out. They have to hope the Steelers suck. They have to hope that the Ravens suck. But I think the Bengals, nobody really wants to play that offense. The way that Burrow played against the Bills, the way that Higgins is playing. Higgins is concussed. But, like, the Bengals, I just really hope they get a defense next year because I want to watch this team do good things. I like the Bengals. Number 17, the Eagles. I almost ranked them lower than this. The Philadelphia Eagles are absolute booty. If you do not believe that the Eagles are a one and done, if not making the playoffs, you, sir, are delusional. If you think the Eagles are going to win a playoff game, please escort your candy ass straight out of my video. Do not watch this channel anymore, jabroni. The Eagles suck. Big Al will tell you. I will tell you. Everyone will tell you. The Eagles stink. Stink. The only impressive touchdown they got on offense, they held on the play. A fake tush push. The only thing they do well is tush push or fake tush push. And they held on the play for a 50-yard touchdown. Otherwise, Jalen Hurts is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the history of the sport. The offensive line can't block for Saquon. A.J. Brown wants to leave. Devontae Smith, I don't even know if he could speak. He doesn't say anything. The defense played their ass off. Cooper DeJean is an all-pro nickel. Best nickel in the league by far. By far. They dominated the Chargers offense. Utterly dominated. Utterly dominated. And they still lost with 7 sacks. Herbert didn't even know what to do, how to survive. He was playing to survive. He was running to survive. But Jalen Hurts is such an absolute bum that they still lost. And people are saying, oh, fire Kevin Patullo. Patullo. Shut up. Jalen Hurts runs his 5 plays. It's the same offense that it was in 2022. Everyone knows it. It's the quarterback. He stinks. They suck. Number 16, Carolina. I think that the Carolina Panthers would beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Not only do I think the Carolina Panthers would beat the Eagles, I think they would whoop the Philadelphia Eagles. The Panthers have a quarterback that can actually think. It's an incredible concept. Also, he can throw the ball on time, accurately. He might be 5'4", but he can throw the ball accurately on time. They also have a team that can run the ball. They also have a defense that makes you earn every yard you get. And they have competent coaching because the Eagles have CFL high school level coaching. That's actually a disgrace to the CFL for me to say that. High school, middle school, pee-wee level coaching. The Panthers are on the rise. If the Panthers beat the Bucs, in which they are playing better than the Bucs right now, they will make the playoffs. The Carolina Panthers. Number 15. The Chargers. Time to bolt up, baby. Now, I do not believe for a single solitary second that the Chargers will win a playoff game. But what I will say is this. Thank you, Chargers, for winning me money. A lot of money on Monday Night Football. Thank you for shutting up every single last Eagles believer. Justin Herbert, that was a gutsy performance. That was a gutsy performance. Broken wrist, broken hand. 7 sacks. He couldn't do anything out there. Now, Herbert, you got to learn how to speak to the media. You got to be a nicer guy. I know you got a really hot girlfriend now, and you think your shit don't stink, bro, but you still got to talk to the media, okay? You still got to do that. You're a quarterback in the NFL. I love their defense. I love Henley. I love Perryman. I love Mack. I love Derwin James, Dante Jackson ballin', Cam Hart ballin'. Tony Jefferson, I want your jersey, sir. The Chargers are 15. They are phony, baloney, but at the same time, they were good enough to beat the Eagles. At number 14, Tampa Bay. I don't know what to do with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is struggling. Tampa Bay might be on their way to missing the playoffs. The Panthers are playing better football than them right now. They have a critical Thursday night game. But why do I still believe in Tampa? Maybe because my guy, the man, the myth, the legend, that is Mike Evans, will return to Tampa, and I believe he'll spark that offense. And they'll get a little bit of an identity back with Mike Evans returning. And I think they're going to push towards the playoffs. Now, I do not believe in the Bucs come playoff time. I have not been convinced by their coaching this year. I think their defense is far too susceptible to explosive plays. And I think their offensive line has major flaws. But they still have weapons, Baker, and a lot of guys that have a lot of big game experience. And I think the Bucs will be able to make enough happen here down the stretch to be a playoff team. I have them as a weaker one, but I have them at 14. Number 13, the Chiefs. The Chiefs are dead. The dynasty is dead. And everyone knows it. But there's one thing that's bothering me, guys. There's one thing. And that thing is that every Chiefs fan and all these analysts are still defending Patrick Mahomes. You guys are acting like the Shador fans. Get Patrick Mahomes' genitals out of your mouth. That's Brittany's job. Bro, Patrick Mahomes has not been a top 5 quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is not great anymore. He's not elite anymore. How much help does a quarterback need? Let's think about it for a second. Your defense allowed -2 yards in the third quarter. And they're blaming Travis Kelce for dropping a ball that was behind him. It wasn't a good throw. They're blaming Andy Reid for the lack of success of this team. Andy Reid, who might be the greatest coach of all time. Andy Reid. The guy literally has 3 coaches who are former head coaches or head coaches. Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, and Matt Nagy. They're all head coaches. So he has one of the best coaching staffs in the league. He has a defensive player that every single clutch game he comes through and he plays his ass off in Chris Jones. Even at this age, he's doing that. Then you have Travis Kelce, who doesn't need to play anymore, bro. Like, this is the thing. I don't like Travis Kelce. I'm not a Travis Kelce fan. I don't like Taylor Swift. I like some of her old songs. This guy does not need to be playing football. He's playing football for the love of the game, and he's playing better this year than he did last year. And he's still a top 10 tight end. There's no question about that. And the O-line, they fixed it this year. Like, they got a rookie left tackle that shouldn't have been there in the draft. Their O-line's been good all year until this game when they were injured. Like, what? Whose fault is that? Like, they have Rashee Rice, who should be in jail, and he's a top 20 30 receiver in the league. Xavier Worthy is the fastest player in football. Kareem Hunt is a cheat code on short yardage. And that is really important for the Chiefs because Patrick Mahomes is a pussy and will never quarterback sneak ever. Pussy. And then you've got the refs on your side. Anytime you get hit near the sidelines, it's a penalty. Everyone blames everything else. There is no other quarterback in the NFL like Patrick Mahomes where there is an agenda from all of these people at ESPN, Fox, I don't know, any outlet, The Ringer, I don't care where. Do they use their eyes? Do they use their logic? They have the best, they have a top 3, this is legitimate, home field defense in the league. They held the Texans to -2 yards in a quarter. They have a Hall of Fame defensive player. They have a Hall of Fame tight end at the end of his prime, at the end of his career, but then they have multiple other good receivers. They have a third receiver in Hollywood Brown who would be a 2 on a lot of teams. They have Tyquan Thornton who's played really well in his role. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, Patrick Mahomes doesn't throw the ball deep. He can't throw the ball deep. He's not accurate anymore. He constantly misses the target. His best asset is he's a good scrambler. He doesn't play in structure. You wonder why the offense is so disorganized. And you're blaming the coach who's a Hall of Famer? And you've got the best defensive coordinator ever? Outside of Bill Belichick? Do you guys listen to yourselves? You all sound like Chris Collinsworth, bro. At number 12, Jacksonville. First of all, Jacksonville beat the Chiefs. I've actually been impressed by Jacksonville the last couple of weeks. I think that Lawrence has played mistake-free, and that's the brand of football that he needs to play for them to have success, for them to have a chance, for them to have hope. I think so. Okay. And I believe that they need to run the ball. But I look at this team and I say, like, they're exceeding expectations. They are the AFC's Bears. They have a quarterback that is flawed but talented, kind of dumb. They have good running games. They have talented weapons. They have an opportunistic defense. Now, a lot of these elements I think are fraudulent. But if Jacksonville won a playoff game, I wouldn't be shocked. I think Liam Cohen does deserve more love for what he's done with this team. Because I think a lot of people have been critical of him and have doubted him, specifically Bucs fans. And I think they would kill to have Cohen back. Lawrence is never going to be the guy for me, and I'm never going to believe in this team until he's gone. But I think that they have started this new era in a positive direction, and they are a competent, well-ran team. So I have them at number 12. I don't have anything memeable to say about this team. Number 11, the Dallas Cowboys, who really disappointed me in Detroit. I will admit, I was totally wrong about Dallas, right? I was right about the Chargers, and I was right about the Texans. I was totally wrong about Dallas. I thought they would beat the Lions. Maybe I underestimated the Lions. Maybe I didn't really think Amon-Ra would play, and that totally changed things. But then at the same time, maybe I underestimated that Dallas's defense truly hasn't been fixed. Because that was the most disappointing aspect of the game, was Dallas's inability to affect Jared Goff, Dallas's inability to stop Jahmyr Gibbs, and Dallas's inability to get a key critical stop. George Pickens also had the worst game of his season, which also killed me. And CeeDee Lamb got hurt. But Dallas is still dangerous. And Dallas, I think, is the best team in their division. I would much rather see Dallas in the playoffs than Philadelphia. Dak is light years better than Jalen Hurts. It's not even close. They actually have a real NFL offense that runs competent under center offense, that runs a dynamic scheme from the standpoint of it's a little 2000s. You know, you've got the I-form play action. You got the old school power run game. You've got the spread passing game. I really like what Schottenheimer has brought, and I really feel like Schottenheimer is an underrated coach right now. I think he's done a really great job for them, and I'm a big fan of this Cowboys team. I'm a big fan of their direction. I can't wait to see what they do in the offseason. I'm hoping they can still squeeze in the playoffs. I do think they should be favored in every last one of their games for the rest of the year. But that defense needs to make a critical stop at a critical moment. They need to, or else they're not going to make it anywhere close. But this team does still have a chance. They need the Eagles to lose 2 more games. And if they do that, which is possible, they're probably going to definitely lose to Buffalo. But then other than that, if they could lose the Commanders one out of 2 times, I think it's very live for Dallas. But that Detroit game was really disappointing. They're not going to do anything this year if their defense does not make any stops. It's the way it is. But I do think that this is a team that I'm really looking forward to for the next 2-3 years. Like, I really am. So, number 11, Dallas. And nobody really wants to play Dallas either. Like, they're a really good offense, and they can outscore anybody. Number 10, Chicago. Chicago impressed me this week despite the loss, just in the fact that they fought hard. I think they stuck to their identity, and they played a really talented Packers team on the road pretty competitively. I don't think Caleb is really the guy. And I think if you switched Caleb and Drake May, I think the Bears would win the Super Bowl. Or be in the Super Bowl. Like, I really think that it's a big difference, you know. But I feel like Caleb, he does some things well. He's one of those quarterbacks like I compare him with Trevor Lawrence. Like, he's erratic. He's inconsistent. But he does some things really well. He can avoid the rush really well. He can run really well. He has a cannon for an arm, and on the move, he throws rockets. But that last play is an example. Like, he misses a guy wide open for a touchdown that would tie the game. He could have ran. He made the wrong decision. He could have made 2 other decisions that were better decisions than the one that he made. And how many moments this year have we really seen Caleb Williams drop back and throw and rip up a defense with consistency? It hasn't happened outside of maybe playing like the Bengals, who are so bad on defense. Like, so the team, and Ben Johnson said it himself, the passing game is not where he wants it to be. The team is being held back by the quarterback, the passing game. A little bit like the Eagles. The run game's awesome. Their running backs are played great. I love what Loveland's doing. I think that the defense with Dennis Allen, it's not very talented up front. I think that's something they need to focus on in the offseason. And if they can, this team can take another leap next year. But I don't buy them as a contender this year because their defense is not good enough up front. They're too turnover reliant, and their quarterback's not quite there. And those are critical elements of winning games in the playoffs. But at the same time, Ben Johnson to me is the coach of the year outside of Kyle Shanahan, who will not win the award for some reason because the NFL hates him for some reason. But Ben Johnson probably will, and so I think that he deserves it. I would put Ben Johnson ahead of Mike Vrabel on my ballot because I think what Ben Johnson has done, despite an average quarterback, is impressive. And it does appear they'll make the playoffs. I'm intrigued by a game against San Francisco, Detroit. I'm intrigued by those games because I don't think they're the Rams. I don't think they're the Packers, those teams, but they're good. And they're a good, like, litmus test for, like, where are the Bears in the NFC hierarchy? Like, are they, like, almost there? Like, are they, like, better than those teams? Or are they, like, no, they're, like, the 7th playoff team. Like, they don't really deserve to be there. You know what I'm saying? But I have them at number 10. At number 9, the Lions. The Lions did whoop the crap out of the Bears in the first game. I'm intrigued to see the second matchup between Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell. The Lions are really frustrating to me, and I feel like I've lost more money this year betting against the Lions than I have at any point because I have not been able to betting against and on the Lions. Like, I have not correctly anticipated when they're going to play well and when they're going to play poorly. I have lost money on them, betting on them to beat the Vikings. I've lost money on them to compete with the Chiefs, even if I thought they would lose. I've lost money on them against the Ravens when I thought the Ravens would beat them. I've lost money on them with the Cowboys when I thought the Cowboys would beat them. I have been very off, other than the Thanksgiving game. I've been very off on the Lions. And I think it speaks to their season. They're a very inconsistent football team. And I think a big part of it is they are much better at home. And this is the problem I have with their potential playoff hopes. They're going to be on the road, almost certainly. And I don't see this team winning on the road, almost anywhere. I don't see them going to LA. I don't see them going to San Francisco. I don't see them going to Seattle and winning those games. I don't see them going maybe even to Green Bay. Like, I don't see them going there and winning. I think they need home field, at least in the first round, to win. But they play this style of football, specifically defensively, that is so hard to calculate. It's so hard to know if they will be able to play man on a consistent basis against a team and get away with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they play a style that is so apparent, it's like, will the refs call a hold here? Will they not? Will this matchup go their way or not? Will this blitz result in a sack or a 50-yard completion? I'm not sure. It's a really tough team to bet on. And then at the same time, their offense, it feels like if you can get interior pressure, it really impacts them. But sometimes you can't. If you can slow down Jahmyr Gibbs, well, it really impacts them. But sometimes you can't. And they're just a very tough team to gauge. I feel like almost more than any team. Because they're very talented. I think their coaching is okay, but I don't think it's what it was. They're just tough for me this year. At number 8, San Francisco. The 49ers might be a little bit of a sleeper right now. I feel like a lot of people are doubting the Niners because of their personnel, specifically on defense. But I look at the NFL landscape, and I look at every roster, and I don't see a team that's above the rest in terms of personnel. I also look at some of the teams with personnel advantages and say they don't have the coaching. And then also, I don't see a lot of teams with the experience or the know-how to beat the 49ers. And I look at the 49ers and how well they've coached on both sides of the ball. Would you guys know that the Niners are the number 1 scoring defense over the last 3 weeks since week 11? They're number 1. The 49ers defense might be peaking at the right time. I do think Yetur Gross-Matos is coming back soon, who was a very underrated interior pass rusher for them, and they need all the pass rushing help that they can get. Sure, they won't have Nick Bosa or Fred Warner, but as Eric Kendricks brought up, he's just recently signed with the team. This team is special in the way of, like, they have a lot of heart. They have a lot of belief. They know what they are. And the offense is very good. They are very talented. And if Brock Purdy plays within himself and makes the right throw and the right decision, it's a very tough offense to stop. The most consistent way to beat the Niners offense is by making Brock Purdy poop himself. And that's not something that a defense can really rely on. And then on the other side, if they can continue to stop the run and their secondary can play the way they've been playing, that's going to allow them to be creative up front to get pressure. So I think the Niners, and you look at them, Shanahan's beat LaFleur 3 times in the playoffs, 3-0. They know how to beat the Rams. They know how to play the Seahawks, right? They will play the Bears. We'll see how that matchup goes. They beat the Cowboys all the time in the playoffs, right? The Eagles are a mess, and they have a massive coaching edge over the Eagles. So you look at them as like a dark horse, and it's like the Super Bowl's in San Francisco. You never know what could happen. Just throwing that out there. Number 7, Houston. I contemplated Houston at 6 or 5, and I'll talk about that when I get to another team in the AFC that I think similar. But Houston, I just think ultimately their Achilles heel will burn them at the end, and that's the offensive line and CJ Stroud under pressure. CJ Stroud is 2 different players. At times, he can make incredible throws off platform, on the move, on 3rd and long, like we saw against the Chiefs. And then at other times, he takes dumb sacks, he throws inaccurate passes, he goes stretches of games where he is total dog shit. So CJ Stroud is up and down in a roller coaster, and their offense can be very inept. And even with an all-time defense, it's hard to overcome that against the best teams in the NFL, especially if you're playing on the road against the best of the teams. Also, their defense is phenomenal. They're dominant. I've been telling everybody that. We knew what would happen to the Chiefs. I'm not surprised by any of that stuff, but it only kind of like gives you more hope that in the playoffs, they could go anywhere, compete with anyone, and in a year like this, could a dominant team that this is the best side of the football in the NFL. This is the best unit in the NFL. Special teams, offense, defense. This defense is the best unit in the NFL, and that gives you a chance to go all the way. Now, the offensive line, I think, with CJ will probably screw them over, but we'll see. At number 6, I have Denver, and this is the team I was contemplating. Do I put Houston above Denver? Do I put Denver above Houston? In some ways, I believe Houston is more of a playoff threat because I think, for example, that Houston could beat the Bills, but I think the Bills would beat Denver. So it's just an example, okay? I think that Houston's defense is so good that they could beat anybody. But at the same time, I think that Denver has a little bit more of a floor on offense. They're not more dynamic or anything, and they certainly don't have the better quarterback or anything like that, but it does feel like with Sean Payton and their offensive line, they won't have a game where they're totally inept. You know what I'm saying? They'll at least be fine. They won't lose them the game, is what I'm saying. Denver cannot lose games with their offense. Houston can, but at the same time, Houston's defense is as good as Denver's defense is. Houston's defense is that much better. So, like, pick your poison there. I know Denver beat Houston, but that was without Stroud for, like, 3 quarters, so I don't know if I can really take that as, like, a real thing. But, and the other thing Denver might have is home field advantage, which is a big deal, and that's kind of where I lean right now. But if you were to look at, like, who's beaten more impressive teams lately and who's played better lately, that's Houston. So for me, I'm not sure. You guys let me know in the chat what you think. Denver or Houston, who should rank higher? Number 5, Buffalo. Now, I'm at that time of the season where I'm trying to rank in this top 10 based on who I think would win the Super Bowl. Like, and I can see Denver winning a playoff game, but I honestly can't see them even getting to the Super Bowl. Like, I just do not believe in Bo Nix. I do not believe in their offense, and I have not really bought into their success this year. They have not been a thoroughly dominant team this season. They're well coached. They make some plays in the fourth quarter. They have a good defense. But Buffalo has arguably the best player in the league, the biggest one-man show in the league. They have an elite offensive line and an elite run game, and they do have a very experienced roster with a very experienced defense. And I feel like this could be their year without the Chiefs, without the Ravens, to be able to make that run to the Super Bowl. I also think they might be the biggest threat to my team in the AFC, which is why I ranked them at number 5. But at the same time, they are extremely flawed. They have a bad run defense. You can pick them apart. If you do have balance on offense, you can attack them. Their offense, their receivers are really bad, but they do have a lot of other aspects that you fear. They could play in any weather. Josh Allen can take over a game at any time, and it feels like they could beat any opponent on the road or at home. So Buffalo at number 5 is an interesting one. Number 4, Seattle. Now, Seattle is really good on the stats. Like, their defense is dominant. Their offense on, the stats are dominant. But there's something about this team that I can't quite gauge that I feel like is a little off if I want to pick a team to go to the Super Bowl. Like, if Seattle lost their first playoff game, I wouldn't be shocked as high as I have them in these rankings. At the same time, if they made the NFC Championship, I wouldn't be shocked. Because on paper, they do have a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense and probably a top 5 defense. And they have probably the best or second or third best receiver in the league right now. And Sam's a good quarterback. He's not great, but he's good. The O-line is shaky. Sam in big moments is shaky. And I think the biggest wild card to me is, can Seattle, prove to me they can win a big game, which I'm not sure we're going to see for the rest of the year outside of maybe the divisional games against San Francisco and LA. And we'll see how they fare in those games, but yeah, there's something about like the X factor, big game, big moment that I don't have a trust factor with Seattle that I feel like I do with even like a less talented Niners team. So that's maybe what's missing with the Seahawks. At number 3, the Packers. The Packers, I feel like, are starting to get there. They're starting to get to what they want to be and become, and they're starting to really ramp it up. And I think we're seeing their offense come together. Jordan Love has pieced together 2 really good games in a row where I thought he played like borderline elite caliber quarterback play. I also feel like they've got a good, strong hammer run game. Christian Watson as their deep threat is very, very explosive. That's complemented now by Jaden Reed. And those guys are going to take the front seat, so to speak, in the offense. And now we're taking a little bit of a back seat for Romeo Doubs and for these other guys like Wicks. And I think that's where those guys belong, is like complementing everybody else within the offense. I can only imagine what Tucker Kraft would make this team look like. And I do think the offensive line has looked better too. The defense, it's very fast. It's got a good pass rush. I think the run defense is spotty. I think that they are good enough. The secondary scares me at times, but I think Hafley is a great coach, and he oftentimes does take away big plays, and they make you really earn everything. And with that pass rush, you're going to get some negative plays every once in a while. But yeah, this Packers team is pretty complete. It's pretty overall good. And as long as they continue to like work on those deficiencies and keep building that momentum, they're a scary team come January, because at home too, like with the Lambeau Field and the cold, that's another factor that I think could really help them. At number 2, I have New England. I moved them back to 2 and the Rams up to 1 because the Rams had a really impressive game during the Patriots bye week. And I think the Patriots, right now, they have Milton Williams injured and Will Campbell injured. But if I were to pick a team right now out of the AFC, it would be between the 2 AFC East teams. It just so happens that they play this week, and we'll see how that game goes. The Patriots are 1 up on the Bills, and I'm not saying that I would pick the Bills just because they beat the Patriots without Will Campbell and without Milton Williams, when those guys would likely play in the playoff game. I do think the Patriots, though, are the more overall complete team. And I think they're the most overall complete AFC team, period. I really do. I think that people are sort of overlooking, it's weird to say about an MVP candidate, but everyone continues to talk about, well, Allen doesn't have to face Lamar. He doesn't have to face Mahomes. He doesn't have to face Burrow. And it's like, bro, the best quarterback in the AFC is none of those guys. It's Drake May. So I think the most like underrated thing about the Patriots is that people don't treat Drake May like they should, which is kind of weird. Like, when you really look at it, right? Drake May right now is on the level of Josh Allen. They are playing at the same level. May is playing better than Josh Allen, actually. But if you were to look at it from like, they have less holes than the Bills, right? Like, they have a better receiving core. They have a better run defense. They don't have these areas that are so crippling to their football team. They might not be as dominant in the run game. They might not have the offensive line that they have. They might not even have the pass rush that the Bills have. But at the same time, it's like, they don't have these crippling elements that have hurt the Bills all year. And it's just weird how this conversation has gone for the AFC and the Patriots. It's like, people are not treating the Patriots like they have one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the league, when in fact they do. And typically those are the teams that you should be picking to make the Super Bowl. So that's just been odd to me. But at number 2, I have the Patriots. And at number 1, it's the Rams. The Rams demolished the Cardinals, and I am so impressed with their run game. I think their run game is just awesome. And if they can run the ball like that, I mean, their offense is going to be borderline unstoppable. Stafford is playing lights out. The receivers are awesome. Puka's nearly unstoppable. And they have the good play calling to go along with it. I do think that if they lose in the playoffs, it's going to be their defense. And I've said this all year. I think it's going to be they get behind. A team is kind of like picking them apart underneath. They're running it. They're balanced. They're going on long drives. The 49er formula, right? Get a lead, lot of plays, long drives, keep Stafford on the sideline, have 1 or 2 turnovers. Stafford can maybe throw it to the other team a couple times, which does happen. And then that's how you beat them. It's not really going to be because the Rams are less talented or not as good as the other team. It's going to be a certain game script, a certain flow of a game, and a certain plan of attack by the other team that forces a bad game out of the Rams. That's why the Rams are the best team, because everything kind of has to go the way of the opponent for them to lose, if that makes sense. But I could see that happening against certain teams. I could see that happening against the Packers. I could see that happening against the Niners. Right? I could see that happening against the Patriots or the Bills. So it's going to be a game state thing. But I have the Rams at number 1. There it is. Gronk spiked the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, jabroni. Hope you enjoyed this Power Rankings video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.